Hi guys! I want to make more dragons. I so like my water dragon and really like to do more techniques and colors. And I want to use this doll for this project because of her features. Oh, please don't mind my dirty nails, I've been busy. And this doll again has no arms. I had a lot of dolls without them, so perfect for a dragon project. As usual, I prepared the doll by cutting off her hair as short as possible. Put her head in hot water for a minute, so it's easier to decapitate her. Careful, it's hot. I scraped the leftover hair out of the head. There was no glue in Gulia's head, so it was an easy but a tedious job with my hook thingy apparatus. I removed her face paint with 100% acetone and gave her a few soak baths in the acetone mixture to get the size I wanted. This took a few days soaking and a few days drying and multiplied by 3, so almost 2 weeks in total. I cut her body into little pieces so I can put her back in a pose like I want. I glued her back together with wire, superglue and hot glue. I widened her shoulders somewhat to give her a bit tougher look. And also I wanted this dragon to have wings, and I like them bigger better than the small shoulders these dolls have. But as I wanted to start with a base, I like to use this candle holder for again. I also used the same for my Askafroa. I lost my inspiration. I did not know at this point what I wanted, how my dragon would pose, where her tail is gonna go. Not even a tiny little story for her came to mind. I did fill the base with air dry clay, that I could do, but I had to pause her for a few days. I did another project while waiting, my spider bot. I will show one day on my second channel, creating make-believe bots. Hoping to come up with something, but no, still no inspiration. Maybe I just have to start. So I started further with the base and made some kind of a rock from styrofoam and air drying clay, filling with some wire for the tail, and with another doll for the pose. Yep, another one without hands. And I'm so bad at hand sculpting. I see another dragon after this. Okay, I got something. After a visit to the Action, I found this kid's foam clay by accident. A shop assistant thought I meant foam clay instead of EVA foam sheets I asked for. Those, by the way, were sold out there and were never coming back. Aww. But anyway, this clay consists of tiny little balls, and I thought were maybe perfect for her skin or her scales. So I tried some and I liked. It air dries, so I made 1,000 scales for her tail. I still have to make. and the rest of her body and face. And I wanted to make a kick-ass transition where I have those 1,000 scales, but I realized while making them, I didn't know if they would work. Maybe they were better put on while still wet. So time to make her tail first. I made it from wire, tinfoil and polymer clay. I smeared some liquid clay on the tail before putting the clay on. It wasn't sticking on itself to the tinfoil. You think by now I could film everything nice and clear, but I cannot. And as always, I'm trying to get the tail in the right pose so it can loop right around the rock I made. But again, spoiler, I will fail and have to do something drastic. I found these dinosaurs in the thrift shop. I was gonna save them for some kit bashing for my other channel. But I think I will use some bits for my dragon. Yeah, I like. I made indentations with the scales so I could glue them easier after the tail baked. Meanwhile this is baking, I'm continuing with her body. Glued everything back together, still thinking of a pose. So maybe I'll glue the rock in its place first. Yeah, great camera work. I have to warm up the head so it gets a bit softer and easier to put on the neck pack again. And I glued the head on the body with super glue and hot glue. And I also decided on a pose. No need to procrastinate that, so I glued that also. The tail is baked, let's get on with that. I glued in all the scales and tip of the tail. I made a tiny batch of my homemade clay I make from baking soda and cornstarch. And filled up all the irregularities on her body. Still hot, I just made it. And it's too soft to work with. Or I made it wrong, or I have to let it cool down. Anyways, this wasn't working well. And yeah, after it dried, it was clear something was wrong. It all cracked. I'll try another coat, but if that also isn't working, I have to do it all over again. Or I put some white glue in it. Did that before and it worked then. And it feels a bit better. And I used a bit of the clay to fix the rock. I just torn the top off. And now comes my favorite bit. I wanted to use these flowers for a while now. I found them in a thrift store and I was so sad because I couldn't buy the whole box full of them. But I think I got a nice collection and I thought now was the time to use some. Some were too big for this project, so I selected the smaller ones. I also selected some pink potpourri I still have from previous projects. And there was this weird looking seed pot, or a nut, or whatever. And I thought it looked like a dragon egg. So now, just like that, I had my story for my dragon. She's hatching her egg. She is hiding between all the mountain flowers, rock flowers. So it needs a camouflage color or shape. First I tried some colors, but later on I will do something else. Meanwhile, I started with her wings. I made from metal wire and this time I wanted to use a new technique because I hated the polymer clay I tried first. And I remembered I saved something I did with transparent silicone sealant. I thought at the time could maybe be used to make some sort of wings. So let's try that. Oops, there goes the camera. I used the silicone on a baking sheet the first try, and it was hell getting it off. In fact, it didn't come off completely. But I liked what I saw. So I used a sheet of plastic the second time, and let's see tomorrow if this worked. So let's look at my girl. The clay has dried, but it's really bad. I glued the loose parts and then I just accepted it. I will cover it anyway, with the little balls clay. So I guess I just have to do her whole body instead of only limbs and tail, but I was okay with that. It saved me thinking of another pattern or material to use. On with her head, I drilled a lot of holes for her horns as well as for her ears. I glued all the wires with hot glue. I also bulked up the wires with the glue so the clay will stick to something later. I gave her a pair of bigger boobies and tried to smooth a bit on her body and made her upper body a bit bigger as well to get the proportions better. And it's tomorrow now and the silicone is set. Oh yeah, so much easier to get those off. They feel a bit wet, but they look okay. I think I can use these for the wings. I so want to succeed with it. Let's glue them on. Oopsie. So it was a bit of a struggle to get everything glued tight. But I got there. And I wanted to cover the bones, and I did this with hot glue. Big mistake. But you see that in a minute. Meanwhile, I cover the inside of the wings, also with a silicone sealant. And I always use a fan to get the fumes away from me. It smells like really potent vinegar. Time for some arms and claws. I did them before from air drying clay with my gargoyle. And I still love my gargoyle very much. Her claws I thought were too big. I really wanted my dragon to have small claws. And I thought I could do that better with polymer clay. So I gave it a try. I had no clue how to do this, but editing this, I see now what technique would be better in the future. But for this dragon, this is what I did. And to be honest, it wasn't great work, but I'm okay with the end result. I will learn and do better next time. And of course, I made her a pair of feet and a lot of nails to glue on later. I glued her arms and feet on her body and smoothed the joints with my clay. I will spare you a lot of footage of it not cooperating with me. The glue is not sticking, the pose is not fitting, the clay is not working. Sometimes you have one of those projects where everything is working against you, right? The one thing that wasn't a problem, I didn't have to be neatly with it all. I'll cover it anyway, remember? So I won't bother. So fast forward to the more fun parts of this build. Working on the accessories. Did I mention yet she's hatching an egg and it lays between all kinds of flowers, so it blends in and doesn't stand out to enemies. So it has to look like a flower itself. So with some polymer clay I made the egg a bit more flowery, I think. I baked it halfway so I didn't mess up what I already had done. And while this was baking, let's begin with the tail. Cover it with the bubble clay. I will glue on the ones I already made, but the rest I will do directly on the tail. And in hindsight, that was the more easy method. Gluing the already dry clay was a bit tough. I used different types of glue and none worked perfectly. Although super glue was okay, but that bottle is just too much pain for my hands. I have to squeeze it so hard. I'm so glad now I didn't make all the skills yet. Oh right, this part I already warned you about. Something drastic is about to happen, although in hindsight it's not that bad. Throughout all my projects, but some projects more than others, but especially with this one, I'm constantly trying the pose on the base, if it still fits how I want. But in almost all of them I will fail, but can make it work. Here I cannot. The tail just isn't sitting right on the body or cannot go around the rock. So the tail had to have it. I had to break it. This was scary. In the worst case, I had to do it all over again. But this is okay. Okay? Yeah, it will work. I will make it so. So, some more fun stuff, okay? Let's cover everything with that fun bubble clay. then this color ran out. And I'm so glad I did a test with paint, because it was very hard to cover up the color. I was going to use this dark blue, but now I will do a lighter color, and man, was that a good decision. It took me, I believe, 10 coats of primer, gesso and acrylic paint, and still you could see the color of the clay shining through. Time to put her tail on and put her on her stand. I thought it was easier to paint her like that. Oh, I totally forgot all the scales for her back from the dinosaurs. Phew. Okay, easy fix. And her wings? Yeah, the hot glue isn't sticking. And paint isn't sticking to this sealant, I just discovered. Note to self, pay attention to these kinds of details. But I like them so much and really wanted to use them. I have to find a solution for the wing nails and the bones. Meanwhile, I gave everything those 10 layers of primer, gesso and paint. And my thumb is going up, but actually I didn't mean that. The turquoise is still visible. And yet I just covered the wings with stuff. But that night, when I normally am sleeping, I thought of a technique of using complementary colors to cancel colors out. So I tried that with a pinkish color. It worked somewhat. It's not very visible on camera, but after a layer of light pink and a layer of white, it was almost okay. I think I will use another color anyway to give her some highlights of some sort. Now I have to choose a color. The flowers are gonna be pink and white and green. So what goes? In the meantime, I did her face up in my lap because I thought this through so much. Not. Okay, I thought about the highlights and it's gonna be gold. Another color I thought was so scary, and gold is always okay with white. So I covered all the white on the wings and just some specks on her body with gold leaf. And how was the gold leaf going to stick to the silicone? With more silicone, I hoped. Yeah, it sticked, hopefully forever and ever, but in any case, for now. For her body, I wanted to get a really light shimmer of gold on her, and I did that with watered down golden acrylic paint and some tiny golden flakes. Brushing off the excess. Time to glue the wings on. I did this with super glue and hot glue.
I can't do nothing with you.
And letting her rest, because I tend to want to move too fast and then the glue isn't sticking. So leave it, Ilse. Flower time! Picking the ones I'd liked to use, but I thought they were way too plasticky. And I wanted to tone that down somewhat. And what else to use than baking soda with some white glue. Let's see if that works. But first I put some homemade flock on the bottom with watered down white glue.
I can't do nothing with you.
I used some reindeer moss for the nest. And I think the glue mixture did its job. The plastic flowers look a bit less shiny.
I can't do nothing with you.
So I packed her nest full with the things,
I can't do nothing with
went all overboard, but I could restrain myself from using the rest as well. Just have to put a protecting layer of EVA foam underneath. And I called her finished. I loved my water dragon so much, but I think I love this one even more. The only thing I regret are the golden spikes on her wings. They are way too shiny. and maybe a bit too messy. But other than that, I love her. And what do you think of her? Would you be so kind and tell me in the comments section? And if you like this video, please give it a like and maybe subscribe to my channel with the bell button. Maybe that will grow my little channel some more. And I hope to see you next time.